Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. As a background for our thinking together, will you listen to these two paragraphs? It is a commonplace remark that our lives are surrounded with so much movement, so many pressures, so many demands that our spirits are often crowded into a corner. As soon as we awaken in the morning, we are taken over by the ruthlessness of our daily routine. Once out of bed, the timetable takes over. In some important ways, this is good. It means that there is a regularity and a structure to our days that make it possible for us to accomplish tasks which would be impossible otherwise. So long as the daily routine is a tool in our hands with which we give expression to goals and purposes, all is well. But there is another aspect to the matter of daily timetables, an oppressive aspect. We are made prisoner by timetables. We become busy. Note the words, not we are busy, but we become busy. Within ourselves, we develop an inner sense of rush and haste. There is a kind of anxiety that is like the sense of impending doom that comes into the life when the spirit is crowded by too much movement. It is true that for many people, the demands upon their lives are so great that only careful planning in terms of a workable timetable can see them through. Even where the demands are not great and overwhelming, the economy, the efficiency of an established way of functioning is undeniable. The purpose of such a pattern is not merely to accomplish more work and with dispatch, but it is also to increase the margin of oneself that is able for the cultivation of the inward parts. It takes time to cultivate the mind. It takes time to grow in wisdom. It takes time to savor the qualities of living. It takes time to feel one's way into oneself. It takes time to walk with God. Forsake us not in the tempests of our daily activities, our Father, but tutor our minds and spirits in the great tranquilities, that deep within we may be still and know that thou art God. This feeling for the cultivation of the inward parts as one of the great protective devices against the invasion of all of the chaos of the outer world into our lives is one which must be profoundly and effectively honored. There is a story current about the musk deer in North India. It is a story first written by Mukherjee. It is said that in the springtime, the doe is haunted by the odor of musk. He runs over hills and streams and jumping over bits of bush, hoping always that he will be able to find musk that haunts him. He hopes that around the next turning in the path, he might find it, until at last, with his nostrils dilating and his whole body one organic push in the direction of this which he seeks, he gives up, exhausted, no more energy, no more strength, and he falls with his head resting on his still more tiny paw to discover that the odor of musk is in his own skin. The thing that he is sure he must have in order that he may find peace within his own spirit is not out there somewhere, but it is within. In Paradise Lost, Milton expresses this in a very effective way. You may or may not recall, Satan has been thrown out of heaven, and he falls through space until at last he lands on the earth or at some other place that is not heaven. And he looks around and he says, is this the season, this the clime, this the place that we must change for heaven? This mournful gloom for that celestial light? Be it so, since he who now is sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right, farthest from him is best. The mind is its own place, and in itself, can make a hell of heaven or a heaven of hell. A recognition of the almost terrifying importance of the inner context out of which all of the individual's private and collective reactions to the raw materials of his experience must at last be made. Now, we are living today in the midst of such a multitude of pressures. Outside of ourselves are all the clues, it seems, to determine what we shall think deep within. We cannot make an independent, free-flowing decision about the kind of soap we use, the kind of toothpaste we use, the kind of car we drive. Always there is this mass attempt to invade the private life and to involve us in such a series of outgoing activities, such a series of manifestations of external life, that most of our living is externalized. It's outside living. Now, this can be managed, I think, so long as the locus, the place of rice for this is outside of ourselves. Whatever may be the nature of the chaos or the confusion or the pressures, as long as they are located in their dynamics and in their source outside of ourselves, then we can manage. But when the locus shifts from outside to inside, then we are in real trouble, because all of the devices, all of the processes, all of the resources that are needful to build up the inward part so as to provide some inner core of stability, some sense of leisure, for instance, even though the activities may not be abated. But if the individual has a sense of leisure, then he moves in the midst of the context of his demands with a certain quality of what Emerson calls the quality of the independence of solitude, even though the individual is caught in the traffic of his life. Now this sense of leisure, this sense of time is important, because it gives the whole spirit a chance to breathe, to go in and out, to gather energies from hidden sources of vitality within. It is this sort of thing that that the Hindu poet of the Middle Ages, Kabir, expresses. He says that I laugh when you say that a fish in the water is thirsty. Do you seek the real, the true? Go where you will, from Benares to Mathura. If you have not found your own soul, the world is unreal to you. Let us, therefore, cultivate habits of mind, habits of thought that will tend to still us within. Let us read those things that are capable of bringing a sense of tranquility and a sense of timelessness, that we may negotiate the intervals of our involvements with the traffic of life with dignity and with meaning and with an abiding confidence. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.